that's the thing. When you go to the diaspora,
Yeah.
you need to understand if your profession is regulated or not. When you land in Canada, you are not an engineer.
Wait, what?
So I've seen various engineers, like people much, much older than me, have their dreams crushed when they land. I saw two ladies kissing. Calvin, so for me, Mugabe was still president. You know, Mugabe's system. But before you come to the diaspora, irregardless of what job you're doing here, research.
I want to know how you ended up in Canada.
How I ended up in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay. So right out of university.
Yeah.
A-levels. I did them at St. Ignatius. I wanted to do engineering. So I just threw applications and I got a place in Canada. So I ended up going to pursue my engineering degree at the University of Manitoba. So I graduated in 2016.
Okay.
So now from 2016, I've been working.
I want to ask, I've seen your husband on your YouTube channel. You guys are doing well.
Thank you very much.
I want to ask, like, you guys, is he Zimbabwean too?
He is Zimbabwean, yes.
Oh, so you guys met in Canada?
We met in Canada when we were both pursuing engineering.
Same
Degree, yeah. I promise you we were studying.
I doubt that. I doubt that. So how has been life so far in Canada?
Life has been good. The inflation has been a killer. You know what's happening in the world these days,
Exactly.
But apart from that, like just transitioning from being a student into working and then just, now married with kids. So I've gone through so many transitions. I've learned a lot. Even raising kids in the diaspora, that should be on my Olympics. Like it's I don't know. It's really different
from here to comparing it to Canada.
So I have my two boys here on mat leave, right? So, and the older one is 3. So I really wanted him to be part of the Zimbabwean system. So we put him in school. So he's going to a daycare. So I want him to learn the culture. But, just from interaction with the teacher as well, like she's been giving me lots of feedback. Yeah. Firstly, how he holds the pen, like he was holding it like this, right? And he's 3. So the lady was like, look, I've noticed this from a lot of diaspora kids who come here. Looks like they don't pay attention to particularly how kids write. But here, from the get-go, they are taught how to grab the pencil.
So you're saying that is different from the way they do it in Canada?
I learned about it when he only started school here. I didn't know that it was that critical. Yeah. So it seems like, that's why they say Zimbabwean education is the best. Now I'm starting to see it. So, I'm learning a lot and just seeing the differences with the kids.
You are an engineer.
Yes.
And how is life being an engineer in Canada?
The
opportunities.
There are opportunities, but there's always a challenge with being a lady in engineering.
Exactly.
It's male dominated, so you have to have you have to be outgoing and you have to be confident, essentially.
Exactly.
So a couple of things in my position that I've been working through, I've managed to see a lot of people coming from different countries to pursue engineering, their careers. Yeah. And most of them, if I'm being honest, Calvin, when you land in Canada, you are not an engineer.
Oh.
It doesn't matter how many years you've been working outside Canada.
Yeah.
The moment you land, you cannot call yourself an engineer. So that's one crisis that really I wanted to speak about.
Wait, what? Like, so who are you then? Like just a regular person?
So that's the thing. When you go to the diaspora,
you
need to understand if your profession is regulated or not. So engineering, where I am staying in Canada, is regulated. So that means you have to be a part of an association to practice engineering.
Oh.
So what most people are doing is, I think they want to go to the diaspora so much that some people don't really take the time to research and see if their job is regulated or not.
Exactly.
So I've seen various engineers, like people much, much older than me, have their dreams crushed when they land. When they are told you cannot practice as an engineer. You have to go through a licensing body. And in most cases, when you go through that licensing body, they review your degree if it's from another country. And if there are certain courses that they want you to take so that you meet the Canadian level, you have to go back to school.
No way.
So imagine you're a 50-year-old and you just went to Canada to pursue a new life with your family.
Yeah.
And on landing, you're told about this.
Like starting from scratch again.
Yeah, so they'll tell you, go do 3 classes from university level. Come back to the association when you've done them. We'll review your application.
Again?
Yeah, and then you have to write some exams.
It's not easy. Huh?
You know what actually got me emotional is I've seen so many successful people who have been engineers outside. But when they land and they are met with this harsh reality, they have to look for other odd jobs so that they can have some money. So I'm not disrespecting any job or career, but once you've gone to university, done the work experience, and you land, and then you realize I have to go and be a cashier so that I can get money for rent till I finish this application process.
Imagine you're an engineer and then you go there, you're starting from scratch again.
You're starting from scratch because when you land, you still have to be able to, find your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I've seen in the company that I work in, engineers who are janitors.
Yeah?
Because you need money. At that point, you're just going to apply for any job while you go through the licensing.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, before you come to the diaspora, irregardless of what job you're doing here, research. But a lot of engineers miss it because they think engineering is not as being a doctor or something. No, it's not regulated, but it is.
So at the end of the day, going to Canada with a degree is same as going without sometimes.
If you do your research before you relocate, it's smooth. A lot of people are not doing that research, especially engineers. Yeah. They just assume it's not regulated. But before you go, they actually have a step-by-step guide. They tell you get your degree authenticated by WIS, this World Education Services. Yeah. And then you can send in your application. And then they'll review everything. So before you come, you already know what you have to do, if you have to take some classes, or if your work experience is good enough to overshadow those classes.
Wow. What about the opportunities for people who don't have a degree who are coming from Africa to Canada?
So it depends on what you're coming with. There's a field called Express Entry. So during that application, they have a pool of jobs that they classify as high priority. And I think stuff as anything in the medical field or construction workers as well, because there's a lot of building going up. So if you have that experience, like your application, you have more points. It's based on a point system. So each time you answer a question, you're given points. So if you have a high enough point system, then your application is processed.
Okay, let's talk about the code. How are you handling the code?
Canada is cold, but I do give them props. They are built for the cold.
Oh.
So when you get into a building, you forget that it's winter outside.
No way.
No, I'm telling you, everything is heated. The windows are airtight. Everything is good. The university that I went to, like from my residence on campus to my classes, there was an underground tunnel.
Ah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have to go outside. So you could just wake up, change, just walk in the tunnels and go to class.
So what are some of the culture shocks that you experience in Canada?
This one, I don't know if it's with what's going on in the world. But I'll see it because it was a culture shock for me coming from Zimbabwe. But there was a time that I was doing this part-time job at university. And as I was going to clock out, I saw two ladies kissing.
Wait. In front of you?
In front of everybody at the university center where everyone is walking.
Ah.
So for me, Mugabe was still president. Mugabe's system. I was clocking out, but I think I must have stayed frozen for a few seconds. So I was like, what is happening? So that was one culture shock for me.
That is something that you not seen.
Openly, and they were unbothered. I can see you're also shocked.
I'm shocked because, at the end of the day, it's something that we don't see here in Africa.
Oh, but there it's actually so pronounced.
You barely see even a couple kissing in public because they're shy.
Canada.
So imagine. So I want to talk about, let's say I want to come to Canada. Is the process easy?
So first, your funds. They want to see that you have a certain amount of money in your account. So there's a step-by-step process. So money, the last time I checked, a family of 3 needed about 25,000.
In your account?
In your account. They just want to see that when you land, you have money to kind of prop you guys till you find jobs, or if you don't have jobs as yet. And then you have to take an English exam. You have to, what do you also have to do? They have to go, depending on your job classification as well, you get points for that. So I think as long as you meet those step-by-steps, then you can do it. But right now, there was an influx of immigrants coming into Canada. So I think they are tightening up their immigration system.
Yeah.
Because recently I heard about some ways that people were getting work permits that I had no idea of. So most people would come as visitors.
Visitors,
yeah. So they come as visitors. A visitor's visa was fairly easy to get. And then whilst they're there, they'll apply for a job. And then they'll transition to a work permit. So now a lot of visitors were just staying. So people abused that stream. And then, when there was COVID, of course, people who were like from the clinics, hospitals, and social workers, they were getting much higher preference. So, yeah.
What are the challenges that you have faced so far as someone who is staying in Canada?
There have been a couple of challenges. One of them was I came to appreciate having maids.
Really?
Because Canada, it's just me and my husband and our 2 boys. So, most people, now it makes sense why when I was young, we had Diasporas coming. And then they were surprised that we had a maid. To us, it was normal, because being in Zimbabwe, having a maid is just normal. But then when I got to Canada, I understood why. So there, when you get a job, there's a per hour rate that regardless of what you do, if you work for an hour, that person is obligated to pay you that amount. So the last time I checked, I think for my province, it was about $11 or $12. So if you hire someone to sweep your backyard and they work for an hour, the minimum you pay them is $12 by law. So now if you have a maid and she stays in-stay, like if there's what do you call it, the in-stay maids who stay with you guys, or the ones that come and go back. So let's talk about the ones that come and go back. If she starts work at 6 and she clocks out at 6, that's 12 hours times. And you know what? Being a maid is a specialized job in Canada because some people go to school to be nannies, to be what sort. So you're not going to start at $12. Your salary is going to start, give or take, at 16 and going up, the more specialized you are. So when you do the math, that's why...
That's a lot of money.
That's the
Here
thing.
in Zimbabwe, a maid is being paid like less than $150
per month, right?
Per month.
In Canada, that's a dream. That's taboo. You have to give them $16 times 12 hours per day. And 16 is quite generous because they have your kids, like the more responsibilities you add to them, kids, cleaning, cooking, like the amount of money is going up.
Hey.
So that's why they would be shocked when they come to Zimbabwe and you tell them, we have a maid, one for the child and one for cooking and cleaning. They'll be like, hey, you guys are money.
So I want to ask the issue of racism. A lot of people, when they go to countries out there, they're afraid of encountering something like that. Have you ever encountered something like that? And have you ever reached a level where you say, this is too much?
So personally, I haven't experienced racism before. I haven't. And Canada is such a friendly country. A lot of people make fun of Canada versus America. They say Canadians are just polite, just nice people. So throughout my university degree, throughout my engineering, I never went through any racism in my workplace. I haven't felt it. Maybe at the salary part where you can't see, because I just have a gut feeling that
maybe someone is being paid more
for the same job with skin color or something, but it's a private thing, so you can't. But apart from that, I haven't personally experienced any racism. You know what? It's funny, now that I'm visiting Zimbabwe, I feel like I'm experiencing racism in Zimbabwe.
How?
It's so the what? Okay, I can use the white people, right?
Yeah.
I know Canada, it's kind of like a sketchy. You say white people
here
or
in
something.
Zimbabwe,
But
even when you say black people, white people,
okay,
they just don't care.
So that's the thing. So in Canada, I almost forget personally that I'm black because like the way you're treated in shops, in stores, is the same as like white people. But when I come to Zimbabwe, you go to a restaurant, the service is different from what I'm given and what if a white person walks in. The world stops.
I'm telling you, like, I don't know why we are not talking about it. It's really bad. And someone actually even posted a video recently with how they were treated in a shop. Like a white person came, and then the white person...
I think I saw that video. Yeah, the Zimbabwe or something.
Exactly.
Being accused. Yeah, I saw that video.
So now it's happening here. It's too much. It's too much, and people barely care about it. They don't pay attention. It's like a white person is given that privilege of being treated so nice.
It's gut-wrenching. It's, for me, I feel like, if we value ourselves as Black people in our own country, you know what, like, this country will be a better place.
I once did maricho. Do you know maricho? Where you do like
basa and stuff
but the kind of job maricho, it's where maybe you are paid maybe per day, maybe $3 or $2. So we were working for this white person, and how he was treating us as Black people at that farm, it was so bad, because I was a university student, and with how I was seeing things, I was like, this is not good. But like, people were not really paying attention to it, but you could see like, you could feel racism. Something. Yeah, it's not really good.
You know what? I feel racist. Like I said, I feel racism in Zimbabwe.
Yeah,
because even my kids, like the 3-year-old. School, it's a mixed school in Canada, right? So when we came here, he went to a school here, they were also white kids and stuff like that. But just, the moment we would pick up our child and stuff, like some of the parents, the white parents, the tension, I don't know if it was tension or something, but I kind of
here in Africa, there are certain places that you go, and then if you see white people there, and then they see you, they look at you and...
You feel inferior.
Yeah, like they're telling you like you don't belong here. You go to some restaurants here and you see like only white people. I talked about this. I was recently in Victoria Falls.
Yes.
Me and my wife, we went to this restaurant, and we were the only Black people there in Victoria Falls.
In Victoria Falls?
Yeah.
And how did you guys feel?
I mean, I felt like I'm not in Africa. So I want to talk about, since you have been in Canada for some time now, and now you have a family over there, your kids are born there.
Yes, both of them are
they
born
now
there.
Have the citizenship.
It's automatic. Like for kids, it's not questionable.
So now I want to understand this. Like, is there going to come a time that you guys are going to say, you know what? Because at the end of the day, when I'm looking at you, the kind of life that you're living, especially for me, I would say maybe racism was going to be like one of the major things that would push back people. But since you're not experiencing it,
I haven't experienced it,
Are you going to come back?
Kelvin, the dream is to come back to Zimbabwe.
No way.
I am telling you. Like, that's the thing about people and the diaspora. People think going to the diaspora, you've made it.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
But for me, being in the diaspora since, university, up until today, I want to come back to Zimbabwe so bad. Because, first of all, diaspora, things are working as intended. So you go to work, you get your salary, right? You do this, the taxes, you pay the taxes, you do everything. But if you want to start a business, things are working as intended. The rent you're going to pay for that particular place.
Yeah.
I'm on holiday here. Do you know how many cheap places I've seen? My fresh chips.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that corner, there's a store. That corner, there's a store. Exactly. I'm like, you can start a business in Zimbabwe much, much easier. There, the taxes, and people are brand loyal. So something like events, you will thrive in Zimbabwe. Because when you come to Canada, the registration, everything is just going to be so straightforward that the amount of money you're going to spend before you even start making something is just going to be ridiculous. I have my cousin, he went to the UK. Here he had a trucking company. So I asked him recently, have you found that gap to continue? He's like, Zaki, things are working as intended here. The licenses, everything you have to put in order to run a trucking is like, I can't do it here for now.
So you're saying that there are opportunities here in Zimbabwe?
In Zimbabwe. Then, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
The diaspora, there are opportunities.
Yeah.
But they are not as easy as you having them. As we have them here in Zimbabwe. So for me, the plan to come back is home is best.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's also naturally, our parents have been here, so there are natural connections. There's legacy already. You know the system very well. There you're starting to learn everything from scratch. You're trying to infiltrate a system where there are other Canadians who have been born and raised there. And we spoke about, there's another thing we can talk about, it's skills in Canada.
Yeah.
Because things are expensive. Like if you want to build a home, right? Most people would do their own building.
Yeah.
They'll paint by themselves,
Paint by themselves.
You see, this shock you have on your face.
Because it's expensive, eh?
It's expensive. Remember that per hour thing I spoke about?
Yeah.
It goes to every profession. Every profession. So most Canadians have grown up very hands-on.
Oh.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I come from Zimbabwe, where, we wanted painting, you'd call a company.
Yeah.
The toilet breaks down, you'd call someone. Like, you can afford to call someone. So I don't have those skills naturally. So now you're forking out large amounts of money.
So if you have a skill, let's say plumbing, or you know how to paint.
Plumbing.
Yeah.
Lucrative business.
No way.
A month ago, I looked up how to be a plumber. I was ready.
Yeah?
Because you know what happened? Our 3-year-old, right?
Yeah.
So our toilet blocked.
Yeah.
So me and my husband were wondering, this has never happened since we started staying in this house.
Yeah.
What? So we tried all techniques. It failed. So we called in a plumber.
Yeah.
So when you call in a plumber, they'll tell you, just for me to come to your house, it's going to be $100 and do a diagnosis.
Only?
No. They're telling you to come to your house. I'm going to charge you $100 for me to come and see what's wrong. But when I see what's wrong, if I have to spend more time there,
yeah,
now they're going to put in their per hour rate. And those guys, their per hour rate is like $50 to $60 if you find a good one. So if they spend an hour fixing something, you're going to have to fork out that money. So the plumber came. My son had thrown a rubber ducky down the toilet and flushed it. So that was what was blocking the toilet. So for that trip alone, the guy came, we paid him like $200. He did not even spend more than 40 minutes in our house. But because for him, the taking out that rubber ducky went past that $100, he said, I'll come for you. Yeah. So it's just consulting and viewing, and then when he fixes it, it's an extra charge. But the amount of work, he didn't even have to work for an hour after that. Because, that's why I'm saying I looked up how to be a plumber. Because, the amount of work I've done and the inputs I've used, $100 on top.
That's a monthly salary for a lot of people here in Zimbabwe, $200.
And
working less than an hour.
I am telling you, and this guy was quite a friendly guy. Because when he came in, he saw our engineering degrees with my husband. Yeah. And he's like, I was an engineer too. I was like, what? What do you mean? He's like, yeah, I was working an engineering job, and then, I had this plumbing experience. Mm-hmm. But then I realized I was making more money with plumbing than I was with an engineering degree.
It's a shocker to me because, we're looking at plumbers here. We laugh at them. We're looking at people who build houses. Mechanics.
Mechanica.
We laugh at them. Yeah, mechanica. You see? We laugh at them.
Calvin, that's the same expression I had. I was like, plumbers, those mechanics, those odd jobs, carpenters.
Yeah.
Those jobs were in Zimbabwe, when people know your dad is in that profession, they'll look at you like,
Yeah. I feel like here in Africa, we pay less attention to a skill. And we pay attention to a profession, a paper, like someone, an office job. It's top notch here in Africa. But
a
skill, an actual skill of painting a house, it's not.
It's not. And you know what? I bit myself so much about it. Amana, if I had known this before I moved to the diaspora, that being a plumber, being a mechanic, being all of these jobs is going to be lucrative, I would have just probably not done engineering and just went to plumbing school. Because, to be honest, Kai, that's one thing I actually wanted to share with people as well, that if you have a skill, even making hair, even the one I have right now, right? I paid about $20 here to get it done. In Canada, I can pay $150. And don't think Zurugenda it's in according to how much you make. No, it's because people went to school to do that profession, hair making, being a barber. Yeah.
Being a barber.
I have 2 boys, right?
Yeah.
So this trip, when I gave birth to my second one, I told myself, in Zimbabwe, I'm going to learn how to cut hair. I am telling you.
Why? Why?
Because their haircuts range from $20 to $30, depending on the style they want. So now you're telling me with 2 heads, I'm forking out, let's go halfway, $50, $25.
So you're telling me that a barber in Canada can actually make more?
The more clients you have, and the more specialized your cut is. I shared the cost for kids.
Yeah.
So adults will be a different one. So, this mat leave, I have been attending, I've been going to see this baba. And whilst he's cutting my son's hair, I'm hands-on looking. So now...
Here it costed like $1 or $2.
Yeah. And then there I'm paying 20 to 30. So recently the haircutter, I actually cut my son's hair. I went for 2 lessons. And I was like, come here, my son, let me try.
I'll do it myself.
So I'm learning, even baking. Baking as well. Like a birthday cake can be anything about $100 for a birthday cake, right? So imagine I have a 3-year-old and a 9-month-old. How many birthdays am I going to go to?
Even including yours.
Yeah, including mine. I know the kids will be like, I want Paw Patrol, I want SpongeBob. So it's becoming more specialized. But for me, like, I did also attend, I went to Wedding Gallery. I asked her, hey, can you teach me how to bake a cake? I want to learn in your presence so that I know that I can do it by myself. So with that technique, right, now I'm thinking, when I go back, I can spend time with my kids. Their birthday is coming up. I'll tell them the night before, let's bake a cake. Which one do you want? So at least you're bonding with the kids, but you're also saving money. Amazing. So those 2 skills I have acquired on this trip.